Welcome to the Powerful Ladies podcast. I'm Kara Duffy. When I was in business school, I remember being told that on average, we'd have about 7 careers in our lifetime, meaning that we would do 7 different things as careers. In my own path so far, I can count about 5. And as women, our 7 careers can include stay-at-home mom and supportive spouse, in addition to various corporate jobs and any entrepreneurial experiences that we create. Brittny Button is an in-demand AD featured interior designer based in Los Angeles. Interior designer and now product designer are her latest careers after being a primary parent, a real estate investor, an entrepreneur with her husband, a model, and being a supportive spouse to her husband's Formula One career. In this episode, we discuss the joy she finds in honoring the spaces she's privileged to design, why we need to protect architectural diversity, and why following your passion into a new business can be so vulnerable, even with experience in so many other careers. Welcome to the Powerful Ladies podcast.
Thank you for having me.
I'm excited to talk to you today. Let's begin by telling everyone your name, where you are in the world, and what you're up to.
My name is Brittny Button, and I am currently in Westlake, which is just a little north of Los Angeles. And what I'm up to, I am a wife, a mother to a business owner, an entrepreneur. And I like to see myself as a powerful lady. So
I love the quote on your website that says you're an acclaimed interior designer with a prowess at reviving interiors. I haven't seen someone else use the word prowess in that way before, so I'm like gold star for that. And I was just so intrigued by, there's so many ways to be an interior designer, and reviving interiors is a very specific choice. What does that mean to you, and how does prowess fit into your vocabulary?
Well, actually, I don't often use that term. It was definitely sort of placed on my website to appear fancier than I am. But the way I sort of come at interior design from a little bit of a different angle, I think, than most interior designers. I really do love to just use what we have already. And also, and not everything can be antique and vintage. Not everything can be a 1920s Spanish revival home. So I understand that. But that's really where my heart is antiques, preserving the homes that we have. Rehabbing them, really trying not to build these really huge, big sort of cookie cutter homes. To me, that it just screams, honestly, no taste, number one, and just really respect for the architecture that we do currently have. I've seen so many homes sadly torn down in Los Angeles, and it just breaks my heart. I really feel like the way we used to live previously was just, you look at even the tiniest little object that was used for the fireplace or at a household, and you saw the detail that it had, and you just look at that now and you're like, wow, it's so basic. Now, there's not a lot of thought that is put into our sort of day-to-day items, a coffee mug, a tea set, or whatever, just the smallest things that we use. People just used to put in so much thought into everything and how we live. How we flew on planes, how we lived in our home, and not everyone obviously could afford something extravagant, but that's sort of where I come in and I say, you don't actually have to spend a lot of money to have a little bit of that sort of, I guess, feeling a little fancy, feeling a little bit high end. Mm-hmm. The flea markets and find things that are, super cheap, but are amazing quality. And so that kind of goes with furniture, clothing, kind of anything I do in life. I'm wearing a vintage dress. I love vintage. And so it's sort of like, I don't look at it as interior design. I look at everything I do as a lifestyle and kind of making the most and preserving what we have. So that was a mouthful, but
well, I hear a lot of the intentionality, when in this current fast consumer paced world we live in, things are made quickly, things are used quickly, things are discarded quickly. And when someone's taking time to make something of high quality, there's a different you're honoring the craftsmanship, you want to preserve it, you want to keep it, it has a better story. There's a different level of how it can enhance your life versus, oh, found this thing on Amazon and I'll use it until I find something better. And so often you realize, you look around and your life has been filled with things that you had until you found better. And that's just such a, I don't know, I don't like tolerating a life that's not meant to be ours, let alone stuff that's not meant to be ours. And so I really appreciate that approach of how are you being selective about what you're surrounding yourself with?
Yeah. And I think it's also too, now you look at how people date these days. I've been with my husband for about 10 years and, you know, I see my friends that they're on these dating apps, everything's disposable items, Amazon, furniture, clothing, people even. And I just really, it breaks my heart a little bit because I just think, oh, if that person's not good enough, or if this item's not good enough, then I just dispose of it and, you know, it's not my problem and out of sight, out of mind. But really, you know, our landfills are just overwhelmed, everything. It just feels that we're not stopping to cherish the things around us and the people around us, and obviously technology and things like that. It's sort of on to the next, what's the next picture, what's the next, and so when I shoot my projects, I really put in a lot of thought and, you know, make every detail matters. You know, I'm not just throwing a shoot together and throwing a project together. A lot of thought goes into it. So I'm really selective about what projects I take on. And if it's the right client, I just had a job where the contractor just didn't care about the details. He just wanted it cheap and to charge our client the most. And I just thought, it's not about the money. It's like, you know, luckily I know not everyone can be so selective, but it just felt so icky to me. And I just thought it's a bummer because the client was super nice, but the contractor kind of just ruined the whole experience and didn't care about the details. And I just truly, the details matter to me in every sense.
How do you think a well-curated, intentionally made home changes a person or a family that's living in it?
There's a lot to unpack there. I think truly, we all judge, it's part of human nature, but when you step into someone's house, you learn a lot about the person right away. You know, are they clean? Are they OCD? Are they type A? Or they're messy, they don't care, and they're just enjoying their life. Or, you know, you go into someone's home and like they have thoughtful pieces that, you know, have a story and have history, and neither is either good or bad. It's just, I see a lot when I go into someone's home. And I think for me, over cluttering is definitely an issue because it's just not a healthy way to live. It's not sanitary. It's not, you can't really breathe. And so I think organizing, I don't myself organize, but I will always recommend to my clients to have an organizer. I mean, when I walk into an organized room, and this is just my personality, I can breathe. I'm just like, he's like, this feels so good to me. And my husband doesn't care at all. There's this stuff on the floor and it's totally fine. But for me, I feel like every item in your home should have a place and nothing should be stacked and stacked on top of each other. And, you know, I love beautiful things. I love, beautiful furniture pieces, art. I love seeing family pictures in our home. My kids love seeing pictures of them and, you know, with each other and with us. And it just, for me, I spend quite a bit of time at home now because I work from home. And it's just, for me, my environment is so important. And right now we're actually in a rental, which came furnished. And it's lovely and all. It's not my style. So I definitely feel like I'm living in someone else's home, but it's very clean and organized. And so I'm grateful for that. But for me, my home environment, it's really kind of everything. It really sets for my family, for me. That's me personally, but I know not everyone, you know, some people barely spend any time at home. So curating your home is just, it's fun and it's exciting and it's, you know, conversational pieces. And I love to have funky things that are a little out of place as well. So for me, it's just fun.
Would 8-year-old you have imagined that this is your life?
Well, 8-year-old me was sitting in a flea market and selling stuff with my parents. So The surprise. I was also going to open houses with my parents and visiting beautiful old hotels and museums. My father was super into architecture. So I think I probably would have been surprised, but then if I thought about it, I probably would have, oh, I thought I was going to be a model, and that was sort of what I did. I started modeling at 12 years old. But I really never loved it. Truly, it never felt like it was really neat. It was kind of just like a way to make an income. But I think truly this is just really my calling. And so it all kind of makes sense. My upbringing and everything. My whole room was sort of antique pieces that my mom repainted, or antique chandelier. It was all shabby chic. Most of my friends were like that. And I was going through the Goodwill, like finding little cool accessories, teapots, dishes. I was kind of a grandma. I was a grandma activities because my parents exposed me to them. And my brother could care less. He wanted to play video games. But whereas I appreciated good quality and good craftsmanship from a very young age. And I think that's kind of all like really helped me, because I've really only been doing interior design for 5 years. So it's been kind of a crash course in this finding my calling at 30 years old. And I sort of just fell into it, to be honest. For me, it was kind of destiny. But after I had my 2 children, I was like, well, didn't really love modeling, not really do that. I'm getting older. And so, kind of my husband and I bought a 1930s Spanish home in Palm Springs. And I just said, hey, like, I'm just going to, go for it on my own and see what happens and see if I like it. And I ended up, falling in love. I mean, it's a stressful process, but definitely rewarding.
How did you go through the transition of supporting his career to now championing your own?
I would say I'm still kind of in that transition in a sense, because I am sort of the primary parent where my husband does travel a lot. So I am kind of that person still where now, I'll say to him, okay, I'm going to High Point in North Carolina in October. So you've got the kids, right? And just sort of like making that point where I think a lot of the time when, one partner is sort of used to just like going off and I mean, he definitely is very supportive and proud and everything. But I think sometimes they forget, like, okay, I sacrificed this amount of time and now it's kind of your turn to kind of be there and be a little bit more of a primary parent. And so that it's essentially my turn to go off and pursue my dreams. So he's been very, very supportive, but it is a transition. He's just not used to that, but he's been super great and supportive. But yeah, I think it's been a little bit like, oh, okay, this is this, you're doing that. I'm like, yeah, it's happening.
And for people who are listening who are now intrigued, like, who is your husband and how has he gotten his own notoriety?
So, I mean, my husband his father was a racing driver, sort of amateur racing driver. And he started karting at the age of 8, I believe. And by the time he was 19, he was offered to drive in Formula One. So he raced in Formula One for 17 years. So his career started very, very young, younger than most people. So he retired, I think he was around 36 at the time. And so for him, it was like he was still very young when he, retired. And then he was a little confused at what direction to go. So now he has many companies. He has a whiskey brand. He has a coach building car company. He does commentating for Sky Sports, and he does very, very various things. So it's all too much where he's a little overwhelmed. So he's kind of like, I met him at the end of his racing career. So for any athlete, I think it's a little bit confusing after you retire. I mean, 17 years is a long time. I mean, most drivers' careers in F1 aren't that long.
Yeah.
So I think it's been definitely interesting and exciting to see what paths we have decided to go down. And now he's in a really great place. He wants to be at home more. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of like every man's dream job. A Formula One driver or a doctor.
Well, I also love, like they say, people have 7 careers on average in their lifetime. And it sounds like he went from one to like the other 6 all at once. And I think it's so common for athletes who are used to the structure and the high performance and there's no, like, you are doing recovery for your body, but you're always going. You're either doing press or traveling or training or actually doing the sport. So I can understand how, like, pun intended, like downshifting for him has probably been a learning curve because no one helps you like off board. There's no kind of, how do we slow down and downgrade and like figure out what next looks like? I used to work for Puma years ago, and I was heading up motorsports. So we did all the Formula One shoes and apparel, and I had the pleasure of working with Ferrari and Ducati and a lot of the other brands in the space. So it's an area I'm familiar with, and it's a fun one to get to kind of talk about again.
I first met my husband. I had no idea what Formula One was, and most Americans didn't. It was more in sport, South American sport. And now it's just gotten huge here. It's insane. Ever since, the Netflix show, an American company bought Formula One, and they actually got a really good deal on it now, looking at what it's worth. It's kind of insane. But yeah, it's really, and then like even the F1 WAGs, it's like a huge thing.
Yeah.
It's like, whereas when I was a WAG, it was like, you can't want to have any opportunity based off of your partner. Like it was very like they didn't even want them at the races, to be honest. And now you see some of the drivers and their girlfriends are doing campaigns together and doing symphony campaigns and doing all this. I'm like, oh, I really missed that. And I'm super happy for that. I think it's great. I think now the sport is realizing that they're actually adding value, and their pictures are getting more likes than the actual drifters.
Well, it's telling the whole story, like it really speaks to the power of storytelling in the documentary format that they've done. People love to know the whole picture and not just the one component. It's truly what ESPN's whole platform is. It's soap operas for men, essentially, of all the things. So if you have a good story to tell, people are going to be excited about it and want to support you. I also love how very similar to other traditional sports in the US, people are so diehard with their drivers now. I find it really interesting. But I'm glad that you've had the space to experience the old way of WAGs, but like really get to define yourself in a completely independent way. Because there must be some pride for you to know that you're building your business truly as yourself and not as a plus one. Like, do you agree? Like, is that how I'm proud of that?
I think, in that world, I am Jensen's plus one for the people that actually truly know the sport and have been around it for a long time. Side of me where people are really just seeing my work and seeing my talent. And, also, I think a lot of people, and specifically women, really suffer that for like with imposter syndrome and feeling that they're not good enough and that they don't deserve a seat at the table, and that actually I can want to make money on my own, and I can also call myself an investor, and I've made us collectively as a couple, money. And I think that a lot of women are just afraid to be labeled something. And I really am trying to push to open those conversations with other women, talking about investing, talking about women and, supporting other women's businesses. And I love my male friends' businesses too, but it's really important for us to like, traditionally, like can be a lot of competitiveness with women, putting each other against each other in media and everything. It goes back to the whole Christina Aguilera, Brittny Spears, when like friends and supporting each other. But of course, they just want to sort of create this narrative. And I think even now when I speak about finances to some of my girlfriends, they're a little bit uncomfortable, or they're not, they're afraid to ask, or they're afraid to talk about it. And I really think it's changing, and it's really great to see. And I listen to many podcasts like Emma Grede, talking to other female entrepreneurs and talking about money and talking about all these things that normally we wouldn't, because it's sort of taboo. And I'm so happy that that's changing. And so, yes, there's absolutely that side where I feel like I am sort of making a name for myself on my own. And it's, of course, I'm not going to say that my husband hasn't helped me in any way. That's, we all get help somewhere. But I am I'm more confident now in my capabilities and my talents and my knowledge and my intuition and things like that. I mean, I just saw how a mother started Poppy Soda and now just sold it for $2 billion. And I'm like, yes, well, and she didn't do this and didn't go to Harvard, but she was smart, and she had that natural ability and that intuition that this is a product that needs to exist, and I'm going to do it, and I'm not going to give up. And, in 4 years, sold it. I love to see that. It's just so inspiring. And it's not just about money, but it's like having the guts to just even try it and go for it. Oh,
I mean, we've had many conversations about, should we still call this powerful ladies? Should be powerful humans? And every time we think about removing the gender from this business, we are reminded how much work we still have to do. There's so many women, to your point, who are still holding themselves back, who are still dimming their light, who are still waiting and thinking they're not powerful, they're not ready. And it's heartbreaking for me to see that. And it makes me proud that I can showcase women like yourself and others who are going after this scary big thing that we really want. I also totally agree with you about the money component, because I have clients who have multi-million-dollar businesses who I am forcing to talk to a financial advisor. And they're first generation experiencing that type of wealth. Their families didn't have financial advisors or retirement plans or like all these things that are so basic today. We're not even getting into the multi-level like ways to invest and optimize things, but just even taking that step into financial literacy to change your generational wealth, to change the experience that your children will have and like really create this legacy component. You don't need to be uber wealthy to be doing that. And there's just so many people who don't even know what's possible for them at whatever level of wealth they have.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was just speaking to a friend the other day, and I have a lot of, I need to improve on that as well. Financial planning, all that stuff, but I'm almost there. And I was speaking to a friend the other day, and she's a stay-at-home mom of two, and she has all these dreams. She's an amazing chef, and she went to school. She was going to a very well-known school in Pasadena, and she unfortunately had to drop out because her house burnt down. Her house is fire.
It's so sad.
Yeah, she kind of has had to rebuild her life, and she has all these dreams: do like a TV show, or start a TikTok and do a bunch of videos, and I really pushed her, to be honest. I said, if you want to do it, I'm going to text you. I'm going to introduce you to this person, and it's going to take work, but you should go for it. I mean, there's no reason why you shouldn't. And she's like, well, I don't know what my husband would think. And I'm just like, who cares? I mean, obviously care what your partner thinks, but if this is your dream, you should go for it. You don't have to ask permission for that. So, that's just, it's like, I feel like women feel like they have to ask permission. And, so hopefully that's kind of slowly, hopefully it's not going to be slow.
Yeah. I do like, as a business coach and consultant, I feel like a lot of my job is telling people, yes, you can do the way you want. Yes, you can have this, like, there's so much permission granting. And I know that like when it's our dream and our passion, we're so close to it. Like I've heard someone describe it as like why we need coaches and mentors in business is because it's like reading a book up against our nose. It's impossible to see. We're so attached to it. And it's why when you look at the most successful people in their lives, like they have so many different coaches, experts. And it's another thing that it can feel extravagant at some points. And yet you leapfrog so quickly when you have these people around you who are like, yeah, of course you can. And not just that, let's like go even bigger than what you're thinking about. How has being a mom prepared you for being an entrepreneur in ways that you weren't expecting?
I think probably the biggest impact motherhood has had on sort of me becoming an entrepreneur is I'm on a time limit. So I don't have time to deal with bullshit. If anything is affecting me in a negative way, I kind of have a zero tolerance. At this point, I only have so much time to get things done. And so if I'm going to do it, I'm going to go for it and I'm going to give it my all. I'm not going to half-ass anything. And then I got to go pick up my kids. And I'm going to go to sleep early. I'm not coming to that dinner unless it's, it's a good friend or there's an opportunity or something. I have to be very selective at what I go to, how I spend my time, who we hire, who I spend my time around. If you're a super person, critical person, unfortunately, you've got to go. I think, it just makes me think like, I want my kids to not have to worry. I want them to have a happy mother, but also I want them to see me pursuing my dreams. And they do see that. And my daughter's teacher asked her, what do you want to be when you grow up? And she said, I want to do houses like mommy. And it's like, that's like such a moment for me because it's like, she sees what I'm doing. I'm bringing her to an on-site meeting, not when it's too dangerous, but she sees what I'm doing. And to be honest, they don't even know really what career my husband has had. So it's like, they know what he does, but like, if he goes off and back, whereas I, sometimes take them with me and they see me sort of designing and they see the homes coming to life. And it's just so rewarding that they get to witness it all. And I can make them part of it. And so, I guess me, it's just, I don't have a lot of time. So, if I'm going to do something, I'm really going to go for it. And I'm also just not going to give up easily too. There's so many things that are happening, the past few months. Like I'm going to be launching my first furniture collection or the first phase. I never thought that would be possible. And so for me, that is like such a dream come true, vision board worthy. I just shot it last week and it's just, it really made me emotional because it was like, it's been in process for about 1.5 years or a little less. And it's just been, a pinch me moment and really like taking that moment to enjoy it and pat yourself on the back. And not, what's next, but also like enjoy that sort of moment that I didn't even dream of because I didn't think it was possible.
It's so interesting to me how when you lean in on what you're supposed to be doing, you get these golden nuggets and these doors that open, and it feels out of body sometimes because it wasn't part of the plan. You didn't even dare dream it into existence. How do you make sure that you're celebrating those moments? Are you like doing dinner with the family? Are you like taking a moment to pause?
Yeah, I'm just having like a glass of champagne with my husband or colleagues. And I have 2 women that work for me and they are both amazing and really showing my appreciation towards them because it really, truly would not be possible without my team. And I think a lot of people think they have to do everything themselves. And it's really just not possible. And if it was possible, you would probably be on the edge of checking into the mentions.
Yes.
I don't say, I don't pretend that I do it all. We have an amazing nanny, we have an amazing assistant, and we have, a few other people that help us. And I just think showing gratitude towards everyone that has made it possible and really showing that I appreciate it and that, we're all working towards this goal, and that it is appreciated. And for me, that's how I celebrate is like, yes, giving myself a pat on the back, having a glass of champagne, but also just showing appreciation to everyone and stopping at the moment like, wow, good job.
When you hear the words powerful and ladies, how would you define them? And do their definitions change when they're next to each other?
I think every woman is powerful, truly. I think that there's no way you can exist as a woman and not be powerful. I think whether you realize it or not, all women have this power that they possess. And whether you sort of put it into action or if you're afraid to, and that's, I'm sure a work in progress for many women, but I think all women are extremely powerful, and I love women. And if I see, the people that really inspire me are women. I mean, one of the most amazing women I've ever known was my grandmother. She was one of 10 children, the oldest, had 6 of her own, and just the most beautiful human being. She didn't have a career. She was a homemaker. But I just look at obviously there's many amazing men in my life as well, but I really do look up to women because they're the only people that, know how you feel and go through the things that you've gone through and dealing with things, health things and periods and ovaries, cysts and all these things. Like, I think there's nothing like talking to another woman and having a conversation and having a heart to heart and getting advice. I think all women are very powerful in their own right. And I just wish that, we all believed in ourselves a little bit more. Like men do. I mean, men would,
yes.
Also, but you look at a man and you're just like,
they've really mastered the art of like being Delulu and making it happen.
Yeah. Be a little delusional to start your own business or, do many things.
Mm-hmm.
I think most entrepreneurs are delusional.
Yeah. No, we have to be. There's too many reasons to not start the business, to not take the risk, to put the money somewhere else. Like, there's 1,000,001 easier paths, at least how they look from the start, than choosing to do your own thing. But I don't know. I can't imagine doing anything else.
Like a cubicle and, having, and I know those people because those people make many things happen. But personally, it's not my personality type. I'm a Gemini. Maybe there's something to do with it. But I'm grateful for those people, but I just, I can't imagine anything worse.
There's so many conversations about like, what's riskier, corporate life or entrepreneurial life? I'm like, corporate life, 1000%. There's like a ceiling and it's slower and you're capped and restricted in so many ways. And you can be laid off, fired at any time for whatever reason. Whereas like, if you know that you work hard, you know that you can make things happen. I mean, why wouldn't you want to bet on yourself? And
yeah,
there's so many ways to be in business for yourself, from hair and makeup to tech, right? So
there's so many ways to baking your cookies and selling them on TikTok or Instagram or whatever, which is what I'm trying to get my mom to do.
I love that.
It's the best chocolate chip cookies in the world. And I'm like, Mom, you see all these people. It's like, you got to do it. Now you're like, your cookies are so much better. And it's like, not everyone wants to do that, and that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's totally okay. But if you have that idea or you have that urge, I always tell my friends, go for it. One of my friends just wrote a book and released it, and it's amazing. I'm so proud of her. And I think it's just believing in yourself. And a lot of the time we can have that voice in our head that is very negative and like thinking of reasons why we can't do things. So I really tried to change that voice and think, oh, wow, okay, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But all right. And what if it does work out? And what if they do say yes? What if they do like? That's just really being your own cheerleader. It's fun, but no one else is going to do it.
Nope. No one else is signing up. For people who are listening to this and they're in the LA area, who is a dream client for you? What are you looking for? What would be a perfect fit?
Well, it's funny because I just posted on Instagram. Kendall Jenner just bought this amazing Montecito 1920s, 30s home, and I think it was like 24 rated. think Ellen DeGeneres used to own it. And it is just the bones and everything. It's so original. It's so stunning. And that would, I mean, I wouldn't say Kendall Jenner is like directly my, I wouldn't say I have like a dream client.
Mm-hmm.
Although actually I have more of a dream home.
Okay.
Any Mediterranean Spanish 20s, 30s, or historical, really. But Dita Von Teasel actually almost bought one of my projects in Palm Springs, which was a pink house that was sort of inspired by Jane Mansfield's Pink Palace in Holby Hills. And she nearly bought it, but it didn't go through. And I was just like, wow, she is amazing. I love like the art of burlesque and lives. And that's like, honestly, as an alter ego, she's definitely extreme.
Mm-hmm.
But that kind of like an alter ego. I mean, I would love to be like a burlesque dancer and like live in her vintage lifestyle. I just think it's so awesome. So I guess maybe like Dita Von Teasel would be a dream client because she really appreciates all of the little details and everything matters. And that's, she would probably be, a dream client.
I was watching a documentary on YouTube about all of the beautiful mansions that they have torn down in LA because, LA gets such a bad rap for not having history and not having variety. And it really does when you dig into it and look for it. But we've also done a really bad job of preserving the beautiful things that we have created in the LA area.
Yeah.
The homes you're describing, I come from the East Coast. So anything that has sense of history and purpose and the thoughtfulness lights me up as well. Is there hidden places around LA where people can see more of that historical charm that gets you excited?
Well, I definitely think Pasadena is amazing. They've done a great job at preserving the homes there because it's a different city. And so they have a different process. And so you actually can't go into Pasadena as a developer and knock down older homes and build boxes, which I love. And we nearly bought a house in Palm Springs, but the seller ended up not wanting to sell. It was just so stunning. It was probably one of the most beautiful homes I've been in LA. So I think Pasadena is definitely a great area to just drive around and look at beautiful homes. I also do go to a lot of salvage yards in downtown, which I've bought some amazing pieces salvaged from homes, famous homes, historical homes. One of my last projects, these insane, really heavy iron gates were so intricate, had little horses, and I added that and built an arch around it. And so that was like my way of adding a little history back into the home instead of stripping everything away. And pretty much every one of my projects, I use salvaged items to preserve and use what we have. It's not always possible, but I mean, it's my version of heaven going into those places. It's just so fun. Just see all the craftsmanship, and I just think, what home did this light come from? This tile. So that's sort of my little hidden, gem spots that I love to go look at. And it's not cheap, but it will last a lifetime. So there's this place called Eric's Salvage that I'm completely obsessed with. But yeah, Pasadena, whenever I drive around there, I just think, wow, I mean, some of these homes are just insane.
We have 2 more questions before I wrap up today. The first is where you put yourself on the powerful lady scale. If 0 is average everyday human and 10 is the most powerful lady you can imagine, where would you rank yourself today and on an average day?
I would rank myself today at maybe a 7. Maybe a few months ago, generally at a 6. I would say I'm not at a 10 because obviously I don't know any person that would probably say that they're a 10 out of 10. But I think I'm well on my way to a 9, 9.5. I have so many things I want to pursue, but not even just, in business, but just really having that confidence and believing in myself. And I wasn't always the most confident. And I think after having my children, it really just showed me, okay, what do I want to show them? And so I would say I'm between a 6 and a 7, and I'm working my way up and kind of improving every month and being more confident in my capabilities.
This is a powerful, connected community. What is something on your to-do list, to manifest list, your wish list? What is something that you want or need that we can help make happen for you?
That's a good question. I think just sort of speaking to other women and just really having more conversations with each other about business, finance, and all those, and your dreams, as crazy as they may seem, just having those conversations, because you never know how things are connected, how someone can help you or who they can introduce you to. I mean, it's just crazy some of the connections I've made by just having those conversations and not being afraid to have those conversations. And I think I would love to manifest for me and other women, just opening up more about those crazy dreams that you have and go for them.
Well, that is my favorite topic. So I'm definitely on board to help make that happen.
Amazing.
For everybody who wants to follow you, support you, hire you, work with you, where can they do all of those things?
They can find me at buttonatelier.com or Button Atelier on Instagram or Brittny Button on Instagram. It's all linked. It's all linked together.
Perfect. And we'll have all those links in our show notes as well. Thank you so much for being a yes to the Powerful Ladies and sharing your wisdom and perspective today. I love finding someone else who appreciates wanting to preserve older homes and also be building beautiful homes with intention. I'm such a believer that it changes so many other layers about yourself and your life when we are really protective about what's in our space. So thank you for doing that part to make LA more beautiful.
Of course, and thank you so much for having me. This has been such a beautiful conversation with another powerful lady, and lovely to meet you.
Thanks for listening to the Powerful Ladies podcast. If you enjoyed this conversation, please subscribe, leave us a review, or share it with a friend. Head to thepowerfulladies.com where you can find all the links to connect with today's guest, show notes, discover episodes, enjoy bonus content, and more. We'll be back next week with a brand new episode and new amazing guest. Make sure you're following us on Instagram or Substack at Powerful Ladies to get the first preview of next week's episode. You can find me and all my socials at karaduffy.com. This is a Powerful Ladies production produced by Jordan Duffy and Amanda Cass. Until then, I hope you're taking on being powerful in your life. Go be awesome and up to something you love.